baby.
You were listening to episode 266 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody. Here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we look back on our favorite games from this year in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So is it an inflation deflation challenge, or is it just a recap of an inflation deflation challenge?
You be the judge.
All right, they'll be the judge.
Let us know.
So thanks for listening. You can find us on the GameDeflators.com, our currently out-of-date website. You can find us on YouTube at Game Deflators, the Game Deflators, whatever comes up. YouTube Music actually has us too for our podcast. So that's pretty cool. Found that out recently. And all the other podcast apps out there, leave us a 5-star review. And then you can, of course, find us on social media at Game Deflators on X, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads are like 3 posts on Threads. So we are, of course, going to be talking about our inflation deflations of the year. Ryan and I will be marking out our top 3, which really kind of comes out to a combined top 4, I think is what it came out to. Yeah. Because we both had the same.
There's some overlap. We had some fan favorites this year.
Just a little bit. But let's go ahead and get started for our recent pickups and what we're currently playing. I picked up nothing this week. Honestly, I probably did, but I just can't remember if I actually did pick up anything. But I will tell you, I beat Mario Wonder.
Nice.
Did not finish the Star Road special area yet. But it was interesting.
Not 100%.
Not 100%. I mean, there's still coins. There's still some of the Wonder Seeds to get. I still got to hit the top of the flagpole in multiple areas. I will maintain my stance that this game has a lot of shit going for it. Like, a lot. It is super colorful, but there's moments where it's, like, trippy, dude. Like, you're going into the final, like, world of Bowser, and there's this, like, one place that you have this, like, half, like, this circle, right, that's spinning, and there's, like, a section cut out of it. And you're trying to, go through and dodge and all this other stuff of it. And it turns into a blue smiling dragon that carries you through clouds. And then there's another part where like King Boo is singing and you're like floating in space. And I'm like, somebody did some shrooms when developing this game. Like, there's no other explanation. Like, some of the things happening in that game are just like off the walls crazy. But I will say, as far as an entry for like a side scrolling or platforming style game, and it wasn't like the whole like Odyssey or Super Mario 64 or Sunshine type of vibe that you got going for it, this was a nice entry into that, realm of 2D quotations on that side scrolling platformers. So I liked it overall. I think it's worth getting as a Mario game. Is it my favorite? No. Is it super challenging? Not really. But it's a Mario game. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to have a lot of colors and a lot of crazy stuff going for it. And I think that if, you got a family and kids like to play Mario games, this is a good one. This is one to pick up for sure.
Nice.
So, yeah. And I do like the talking flowers as well.
You do?
Yeah, the talking flowers are kind of interesting. Like, they just say stupid stuff along the way and funny things and comments that you're just like, that's so off the wall, like not normal Mario, which was
they just
kind of
add some extra weird life to
an
already kind of weird place.
For sure. Yeah, that's exactly what it did. And then I will say the final battle with Bowser is pretty cool because it's like this rock stage basically with like flames and smoke everywhere. And Bowser's like, dancing as like these giant arms and a head basically. And you're basically going to the beat of music to try and hit his pieces essentially to destroy Bowser. So I knocked all of it out. Like the first or the last world, I think there was a few occasions where we were trying to get kind of playful with certain things and we would die occasionally, but it wasn't like the hardest thing we've ever played.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we've played far more challenging platformers than this, but it was good. So I would say overall, in my opinion, I would put this around maybe an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10 as far as Mario games are concerned for me.
Okay. That's pretty good.
I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah.
All right. And then also I'm playing Tails. So I got past So we went into a city, and I'm starting to remember more and more names. So I have Rain in my party.
Okay.
I've got Colette, and then I've got Lloyd, and then I have the dude. I forget his name.
Genus?
What's his name?
Genus?
No, not Genus. That's Genus sucks. The other one.
Kratos.
Yeah. So Kratos before Kratos was Kratos. So I have him in there, and yeah, it's been pretty good. Like overall, I was doing so I learned a little bit while playing the game because I was like, there's no way that this is that difficult of a game. And so I had to Google it. I'm like, Tales of Symphonia difficulty. And so there are people that said, hey, like to start the game, you just got to block. It's really what it comes down to, time your blocking. So I started doing that. So it was battle that I got demolished in the other day. I was like, all right, let me test this out. So I'd go in, I'd block, I'd get hit with this like these needles coming at me constantly from this dragon creature. I'd go ahead and do 3 slashes, a special, block, 3 slashes, a special, and just kind of rinse and repeat. Ended up beating it. No issues. All party members alive. So I did also a
little bit of strategy in there.
I did reconfigure the strategy for one of the characters. So that character is fully like healing and protecting other members. So they're constantly throwing out healing spells, and I have them as long range magic. So the idea is that they're kind of staying behind while the other 3 are going in and doing the active like attacking and such.
So are you like playing Lloyd basically the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to play Lloyd the whole time. I mean, apparently he's the easiest to play. I'm cool with that. I don't need to.
It's fun occasionally to switch over to other characters, but like I never did like extensive amount of playtime using too many other characters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't intend to because I mean, Lloyd's the main character at the end of the day, right? So like it's been like that for me on a lot of games. Like I wouldn't have played Final Fantasy, for example, 7 and played as Red 13 the whole time, right? Yeah. And tried to run around. Like I want to run around as Cloud, and the same thing with 8. Like I want to run around and play as Squall. And when I have the party members, I want Squall in my party at all times. Like, that's just kind of how I've always played RPGs. So yeah, that's where things are with that. But it's been enjoyable so far. I'm definitely liking it. And
do you like the I love the Tales, how they have like those scenes.
Yeah, the animation cutscenes
where you get like a little more insight to the characters and just like these little moments.
Yeah, there was one I was running around because I was like, let me explore this world a little bit. Like maybe there's another town where I can get some items to kind of strengthen up my characters, right? And then a little thing on the bottom says, we're not on a vacation on the bottom. I'm like, oh, that's basically telling me you're going the wrong way. So I had to loop back around. But you're right. There's like these little tiny side quips that come up with the characters where they talk about like certain things like, oh yeah, I heard that you were doing like the following in our town, blah blah, and they just start talking. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm liking it. It's pretty decent, you know. It's hard for me to follow a story sometimes because I'm just in and out of games, you know, nowadays. But it's kind of nice. Like Colette and the whole like her father, you know, who's this like angel or whatever, is basically saying, hey, you gotta go to these different shrines and pray or whatever. And so now I'm on the second one that I have to go to. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I think what I'm going to do is probably read the wiki a little bit and get a little more of that flavor of understanding, like deeper reading as to what I am playing. So that way, when I get to those scenes, I'm like, okay, this makes more sense now. Okay. Cause I do feel like early on, I missed some things. And then of course I'm playing Magic Arenas. Still, I hadn't played for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, but I decided, let me go in and let me play lands because I really wanted to play my lands deck. And dude, like that deck
Landfall?
No, not Landfall. Caves. It's Caves.
Oh, okay, like that one that I pulled that you want.
No, that's different. That's Cavern of Souls. That's
it's a cave, isn't it?
No, it is just a regular land that happens to allow you to play certain creatures that you call out, and then those creatures can't be countered. It's really good for tribal decks, so that's why I want it, because I want to build a couple tribal decks. But no, I've been playing Caves, and Caves is basically like they ramp out. So like I have a card that says search your library for 3 caves and put them in the battlefield tapped. I have another card that's like a 3-drop that says draw a card. If you identify a cave, put it into the battlefield and gain 4 life, and then I can play another cave.
Yeah, so I did pull another cave. I pulled one that like lets you copy a land from your graveyard.
Yeah, that one's cool. I've seen that one. There's another one that you can exile 3 cards from any library, either your own or your opponent's, when it comes in, and that cave produces 1 mana of any of those particular colors. So like if they have a blue, a white, and a black in their graveyard, you exile those 3 cards, and now that land can tap for blue, white, or black. And that Splunking card, the one that's a 3-drop that lets me identify a cave, all my caves come into the battlefield untapped at that point. Or
You
all
already
lands.
have all the caves you need? I might have some extra caves.
Maybe. I mean, I'll take caves, especially if you got foils. I'd like to foil that deck out. But it's pretty cool. Like, and then there's a creature that's like an 8-drop, but it's you reduce it by 1 mana for every cave you have on the field.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I think.
And then I have another card that's like a board wipe that says deal X damage, where X is the number of caves you have on the battlefield or in your graveyard. So, like, it's just tons of caves. And so the idea is like to continue popping out caves, control your opponent's side of the board, and then utilize your caves to find cards, because you can use a discover mechanic with a number of the caves. So you can sacrifice them, search for a certain card, and then I have cards that allow me to bring back caves and put them back into the battlefield. Okay. And then things that when caves come into play, they get +1/+1 counters on other creatures, including caves that are turning into creatures. So it's just a lot of fun. It's a fun little deck. It's quirky. It's more considered jank than anything else, but it's fun. So I'm enjoying playing that one. So yeah, that has been my week of gaming and Magic and everything else.
Nice. So I didn't really have any pickups this week. My friend helped me reflash the memory on my Zelda Game & Watch. So I updated the games on there. I got rid of Pokemon Yellow and Dragon Warrior Monsters, and I put on a randomized version of Pokemon Crystal. And I just beat the first gym, and I have a Totodile, whatever the second, I think it's Bayleaf. Is that the second form? Yeah, Chikorita, Bayleaf, and then Meganium. Yeah, I got a Bayleaf. I got a Magcargo, and I got a Starmie.
Gotcha.
All on like the first 2 routes. And I tried to get an Ursaring too. Like, I've got all these like evolved Pokemon, and I'm just like wrecking shop. It's pretty fun. So
nice.
That's cool. I also put Monster in my pocket on there, so that I always have Monster in my pocket.
You know, I'm shocked that you didn't put that for your games. I mean, I'll spoil that for everybody. I'm not counting it
because we've done it before.
We've done it like twice, so I'm kind of shocked that you didn't actually.
I have nothing new to add to the Monster in my pocket until we get more about the Monster in my pocket movie or new universe that they're going to set up. We announced or reviewed the announcement for. Yeah. Nothing new there. So
makes sense.
Yeah, that's about it for gaming this week. I've been mostly like reorganizing my room and reorganizing my Magic cards. I did do a draft last night, and that was pretty fun. I made this blue black with like the tiniest bit of mill and just not really a whole lot going for it. I thought it was doing terrible. Sergio beat me 2-0. He also made a blue black deck, and we were sitting right next to each other. So no matter what, we were just robbing each other of whatever the other person would want.
Damn.
With every pass. But yeah, he beat me 2-0, and then I 4-0'd after that. Like, I guess it was enough to come through when I wasn't just playing piddly little mill nothings.
Did you guys do any prize support for each other, or you just had 3 packs
No, we
each?
just basically all bought and brought packs. We all had extra packs, but I mean, at this point, to the most of us there, like, they're worth more sealed because that means more draft.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I mean, I'm just really not opening packs anymore unless I'm drafting.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And it's fun that way too, because it's like we did like a crazy chaos draft. I had 2 of the Ixalan packs, and I was hoping to get like maybe, one of the Jurassic Park cards or something out of there, but nothing.
I have yet to open up a box of Ixalan or even a pack.
They're pretty cool. There's some neat stuff in there.
Yeah.
So you just bought all your caves online, or you're still just trying to put it together?
Oh, I already bought it. It's all done. The deck cost me $24. So
oh yeah,
that's a cheap deck. Yeah, it's a cheap deck. I mean, most decks on average are like $200 to $350 roughly, depending on what you're playing in the meta. And I've got Burn, which is generally pretty good anyways. And there's some other things I want to build towards. But yeah, as it stands right now, Caves is a lot of fun. So I think I'm going to play that next tournament, and that'll be on Friday of next week that I'll play that. So
nice.
Yeah. Cool. Well, discussion topic was going to be Mario Wonder. I think we should shift it to why hasn't Ryan beat Pikmin, but I digress.
Oh, it's not the end of the year.
It's not. I mean,
I
but
still have 8 days, John.
yeah, we're
I have
recording on a
8 days.
Saturday.
I could play half an hour a day and still finish in time.
You've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, I know. I'm keeping the tension high, giving the people, the gist to hold on to the edge of that seat a little bit longer because they're just gripping, waiting for me to talk about how I beat Pikmin.
I would not be surprised if you beat it like months ago and you've just been holding out. That'd be
actually, John, I've beaten all of the Pikmins.
That would be like a pleasant surprise, actually, for you to come up and be like, yeah, I didn't just beat Pikmin 1. I beat that 6 months ago. I beat 2 and 3. And I guess 4, right? And their fourth one? Yeah.
And I play the Pikmin Go mobile game.
And whatever's on the 3DS. I even played the remastered versions on the Wii.
I don't even know if there's one on 3DS. That would have been great, though.
I think there is, actually.
Is there?
Yeah. Maybe you should play it next year. All right. So we were going to talk Mario Wonder. I think what I'll talk real quick is just my next... Huh?
Hey, Pikmin.
There you go.
On the 3DS.
You paid a Pikmin to run around. So the next game I'm going to play is Chia.
Okay.
So on PS5. So my wife and I are going to play that one. And we were watching a trailer last night. I obviously bought it a long time ago with intentions to play it as soon as I could. And she's excited for it. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great game.
Got some nominations.
Yeah. It won the award for Indie of the Year, I think.
Or was it the Games with Feeling or whatever?
I think it won Indie Debut of the Year or something.
Indie Debut? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't have the paperwork near me to confirm this, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Chia won because I want to say that was my selection. But yeah, so that's our next game. Other than that, I think we're good on discussion
games
topic.
For Impact at Game Awards.
Oh, I got Games for Impact.
Yeah, it probably won some other things at other places.
Yeah, but we're excited. So that's about it. Let's jump into your summary of what we're talking about this week.
So anyways, this week we are going to be starting off with the Insomniac leak. It comes with a little bit of another look at a gaming price hike and some future plans for Sony that I haven't really heard anybody else talk about yet. Speaking of price hikes, we also have some Steam keys that are selling for big bucks on the secondhand market. And then we're actually going to close it out talking about China's new regulations cracking down on some pricing over there as well. So it's all about that dollar this week.
It definitely is. First one here is PlayStation is reportedly planning on selling games in parts for $50 each, raising overall prices to $80 to $100. And this is Brandon Orselli at Niche Gamer. So basically, we talked about a while back that some hacking group got Sony data, happened to be Insomniac's data, and they were trying to ransomware him for like $2 million. And Insomniac was like, well, just screw you guys. We're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so they leaked a bunch of things, including things like the Wolverine trailer, other games.
Gameplay for Wolverine.
Yeah. So gameplay for Wolverine, they actually released information about that it's going to be a trilogy of games, I think, revolved around the X-Men that are coming out. So that's kind of cool. A lot of that. But then the thing that I haven't really heard anybody talk about is that apparently in that same leak, there are email communications that say, hey, Spider-Man 3, when it comes out, we're going to sell it in 3 different parts. The first 2 parts of the game, $50 each. And then the multiplayer part, $50. So $150 if you want the full experience of Spider-Man 3. And then even increasing prices in 2027 from $80, from a range of about $80 to $100 for a game.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It's crazy. And I mean, especially if you look, there's been some news recently about the pricing in Steam in other countries, because it's not the same everywhere what you're paying for a game. And to protect people from, or the sellers of the games, the creators financially, they set the price recently in some nations as a US dollar amount. That way it wouldn't have to be something they adjust all the time, because those countries may have a less stable currency, and that could affect the pricing. And they don't want people from other countries to VPN in and get these games for less than what they really should be paying based on where they actually live. So that has made games like untenable to purchase in some countries. So if you're looking to jack it up to $80 to $100 here, I mean, that's going to put a lot of people off of buying as many games. I think you're going to see a huge surge in piracy. And I just think that, I don't know. I hate to lean into it, but it's like, you could argue that some games are definitely worth, like, you get that much enjoyment out of a game. Like, financially, it would be worth that price for some games, but it's not worth giving the company the satisfaction of knowing that that is the case sometimes, because we want games to be as cheap as possible.
Well, and so the other thing that kind of comes of this too is like digital only, right? So if it comes to a point where it's digital only games and there's no hard copy used games out there, consider that a lot less money too. Because I mean, folks like
Renting a game for $100.
Yeah, if I'm gonna like if a game I want is coming out digitally, it's $100. I might as well just buy old games at that point, right? So then what does that do to like the PS5, the PS4, PS3 prices, you know, other Nintendo consoles, etc.? Like I could see prices of those skyrocketing too. Or it just goes to a subscription model, similar to what Microsoft is doing right now. So I think it goes one of two ways. If it's digital only, right? You see a massive drop, or three ways: a massive drop in online sales, and sales in general for gaming. You see a increase in pricing for older titles because, well, people just frankly are going to play older games that maybe don't look as bad when you consider PS5, PS4, not terrible quality games. And then you're going to see something potentially like, you know, the subscription services surging at that point because there's more value in having access to all of those games at a one set fee than, you know, having to go out and buy them. So I can see it going any of those directions or multiple at the same time.
I mean, it's going to get ridiculous quick.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that I really see coming out of this. If they're talking 4 years from now, maybe doing that, I mean, that's going to come in no time. And there's going to be a lot of changes between now and then.
Well, and they're anticipating an increase in development costs, an increase in hardware costs. Like all of those things are really the catalyst for it going up so high in price.
This EEO cost.
Yeah. But the other thing to consider, though, is does overall like amount of money that people are making on an annual basis increase as well? And honestly, it's probably a bit of both, right? So it just kind of tracks back to inflation, you know?
And if you're going to charge $80 to $100, you're probably going to see people buy half as many games. So you're probably not really going to make much more money.
Yeah. Or if it's just going to wait for sales, you know?
Yeah.
Why would I buy a game at $100 when I know the next year it's going to be on sale for half that, or even like 30% off?
Buy two, get one.
Well, that's assuming
it's not $100 game for free. Hell yeah.
That's, oh my God, that'd be great. But that's assuming though that like it's not digital only at that point, that there's used copies. So talking about high prices though, the Disaster Zombie MMO the day before is going for big bucks on the gray market. And this is Michael McWhorter on Polygon. So we talked about, you know, the day before and how the developer, not a fantastic developer, but Fantastic the developer, basically shuttered its doors after release, essentially like 5 days after everything was released. And you had some people say, hey, the game's great. I love it. It's a lot of fun. Totally worth playing.
Who said that?
I don't know. There's some people. Let's go on Twitter. Twitter's a mess. It's a shit show. Or X.
45 to 100 people that are still playing actively.
Well, that's because of the returns and everything else that happened, right? So yeah, there's 45 to 100 people actively playing online on their servers. The issue though, and this came directly from Fantastic, is they're going to be shuttering the servers down in like January 27. So it's not even that much time to have to play this. And there are people online right now selling this game for like upwards $200 to $350 for a Steam key.
This is so dumb. Like this is the game doesn't barely work as it is, and when it does, there's barely anything to do, and definitely nothing worth doing. And with it all going to be over, like, come on, man, it's the holidays. Spend some time with your family, or like, go for a walk, do something else. Do not get suckered in. Do not pay hundreds of dollars. This is not going to be like, you're not going to increase the value of your computer because you have a Steam key for this, the way you can resell like a PS PS3 that has, or PS4 that has PT on it.
Well, it's true. But one other thing that's noted, though, is some people are getting it for free. They're contacting the CEO
I did see
directly,
that, yeah.
and the CEO is just straight up like, well, I got nothing else to do with it. So here you go. Here's a key to be able to play the game. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of cool if you think about it. What I don't get, though, is that if there's people willing to pay this much just to try it, right? And there are people out there who said, yeah, I liked it, or people that bought it, et cetera. And there's some people that said, hey, it's not what it's false, right? It's false advertising. It's supposed to be this like open world survival type game or shooter, and it ends up being an extraction shooter. It's nothing like what we had seen. And then there's some people said, hey, I know it wasn't that, but I like it as an extraction shooter. So like, I'm okay with this, but overall it's not what I purchased. So, I mean, like, as far as I could tell, like there's people that like it to an extent. If you got 4,500 people playing it, and they're actively playing it.
Not 4,500, 45 to
45 to 100. Yeah, that's what I meant. 45 to 100. Yeah, I mean, it baffles me that they just closed, right? It seems like
they're not gonna make any money on it.
But it seems like there's some sort of demand here, though.
No, there's not. 45 to 100 people is not demand.
Actively playing it.
Giant failure.
No, actively playing it. I mean, well, we don't know what the sales were beforehand. They didn't say what pre-order sales or anything like that.
I mean, they made a bunch of sales, but like, it's just the reason that they had all those returns is because it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
The fact that there's still people playing it, like, that's kind of like out of morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
Or to just try to get some internet meme.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to play it, but at the same time, I'm not going to spend that much money. Maybe I'll call the CEO. He can hop on the podcast, give us a couple keys.
You could go back and find tons of old, terrible games. I mean, we've played some old, terrible games, and I'm sure if you were to stream it on Twitch, you would be the only person playing that game. That doesn't make it like a good game that deserves to come back.
I don't know. Maybe it deserves a remake, Ryan. Maybe it deserves a remake. Okay, let's go into our third piece here. God, we're lined up for a short episode this week.
Wow.
So China announces rules to reduce spending on video games. And this is Josh Yee at Reuters. Ryan, I'll kick this over to you. This is your article.
Yeah, so I found this today. This seems like some pretty big news. It just came out real recently. China's regulators announced on Friday, December 22nd, that they're going to be doing some more restrictions in the gaming industry. We did talk about this, I think, earlier this year or maybe last year, or maybe a couple times over the past, where
a few times over the last 3 years.
Yeah, progressively started cracking down. I think the last thing we talked about was they were implementing like strict timers for people under the age of 18 to try to combat like gaming addiction. Well, now they're coming at it from a financial aspect, and they're actually trying to do something that, I think is actually pretty good, and I would like to see some regulation like this come over here. But they're trying to put a stop to some of the most predatory practices that they have for monetization. So they're getting rid of like daily login bonus things, or hey, congrats, you just spent money in the cash shop, here's a bonus, or you just bought a few things in the cash shop, here's a bonus. Like, they're trying to get rid of a bunch of that, and it's actually had a pretty big impact. From what they were reporting, it looks like shares in Tencent tumbled as much as 16%, and NetEase plunged as much as 25%. They reported in the article. So that's some pretty serious money for companies that are this large, especially coming out of China, where they've been really aggressively investing in other game companies, publishers, studios across the country that we've seen this last year and kind of been talking about as well. So I think that these changes will definitely impact how China is approaching their games domestically. But if the rest of the world doesn't catch up, I mean, with the reach that they have and the amount of investment that they have into other platforms, they're still going to be able to take advantage of this. And it's not really going to be a long-term setback for them, it doesn't seem.
Yeah, I'm trying to find within... Let's see. So he said that this recent thing sparked panic in investors, wiping out $80 billion in market value from China's two biggest gaming companies, which is the stock component. I could have sworn there was something here that talked about not only the incentive aspect and removing that, but like there was a dollar spending amount that I could have sworn I saw here as well. Maybe I'm imagining it, but it was like you could only spend a certain amount of money on a day-to-day
Oh,
basis in gaming. And the last year, new game improves impose restrictions to curb in-game spending. So banning reward features, games are also required to set limits on how much players can top up their digital wallets for in-game spending. So that's actually kind of crazy as well. Like you literally cannot put in a certain amount of money.
I mean, that makes sense as like a limit. Like if you can go into Hearthstone or MTG Arena and just like fund unlimited money into your account, you know, if you at least enforce some type of cap, you give those people at least some kind of fighting chance to not get, you know, just sucked into the hole.
Yeah. Well, I think overall it's pretty interesting. I don't like the idea of a government coming in and saying like, "Hey, you can only spend this amount of money," and kind of stepping in to do certain aspects. But I do appreciate the like, you know, incentivizing certain things, right? Like you said, right? Maybe it's, hey, spend $20, we'll give you an extra, 5 gold tokens or whatever it is, right? Like that to me is kind of
I don't
crazy
like the game
because
trying to bribe me. Like
yeah,
if you have something, advertise it, I guess. You know, like it's fine if you have a shop, but my playing the game, all of my attention shouldn't be directed to the shop, and you shouldn't be trying to bribe me to spend money there. Like I'm already playing the game. That's a bonus.
yeah, and like honestly, like I'd be okay with like a small advertisement here or there in a free game like that. If it meant that I didn't have to put in more money or even attempt to put in any money into a video game like this if it's
Yeah.
free. Like I get it and you want to support it, but you spend so much more money in some of these games that are like free games essentially.
Yeah.
Magic is one that for sure, like I know people spend a boatload of money. Like if you want to buy tokens or if you want to buy packs, that costs quite a bit of money for like these digital cards that, by the way, they could take away at any point
Yeah.
based on their policies. Like they have banned cards on there, or they have like changed the text on certain cards as well, so that way
Do they give you some
it's
kind of
better.
credit for that?
What's that?
Do they give you some kind of credit for that?
No. So recently they made changes to like some of the historic stuff. I think it was what is it? The One Ring and the Orcish Bowmaster.
Mhm.
Like they basically made them, I mean, they're still playable, but they made them like in the sense of like the overpowered nature of what they were released as. They actually made modifications to the card's text, so that way it plays differently. And with it being changed, it actually modifies the online meta for those specific cards and those decks. They didn't compensate players at all. They just said, well, we reserve the right to do this.
Yeah. That
So
sounds like
like
Wizards
yeah, and so
or
like certain
Hasbro.
things. Now, if they do ban certain cards, they do replace them and give you wild cards, so you can put it to, like they do true bans on cards, then they do that. But the fact that they could just modify a card and say, "Oh, well, it was too powerful, so we made modifications." No, you release a damn thing like that. So either offer a ban and just go ahead and give people wild cards so they can get other cards for the meta, or give them some sort of compensation, or just don't ban it, don't
Yeah.
print it, whatever it is. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to there. So I know we got off topic there, but yeah, I mean, I I don't know. There's a lot going on with this. I'm hoping some of this makes it to the US, some of it I hope doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think whatever we could do to try to curb the way that it's going in the future. I mean, people are pretty locked in and happy with just like cosmetic things. And I don't think that, you know, there's really a huge problem with that. One thing, like, I was watching Skillup put up his last video of the year, I think it was. He was talking about battle passes and how he's playing like 4 games that have battle passes in them. He's not able to finish any of them. You know, he doesn't have the time. So next year, he's probably going to wind up just investing in one battle pass. But it sure would be nice if he could get all of the things on those battle passes, but just in a reasonable amount of time instead of
Mhm.
having to dedicate your whole life to just one game. And I think we're really going to start seeing, you know, as we continue forward into the live service future. I know that we didn't really talk about it, but with the Last of Us factions basically being killed, and there's not going to be a multiplayer there, Sony's kind of reined back its 12 to 6 live service games that it's kind of working on. So in the future, all of this monetization stuff, it's not going to go away. It's going to keep coming up. So anything we could do to try to protect the people who need that, out of their games, so that it's fair and equitable and people, don't feel preyed upon by these companies. I'm all in favor of that for sure.
Well, it's not even so much that like people feel preyed upon sometimes. It's just that, like you said, right? Helping people from themselves, like protecting them from themselves in a way. And like, I get the side of it's like, no, not everybody requires some sort of protection, or I don't need somebody to protect me. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you kind of do sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Because then that actually makes things harder on others at the end of the day. All right. Let's dive into our inflation deflation segment, or recap thereof, of 2023. So this is our top 3 games of the year. Let me kick it off here in terms of episode order. For me, it was the Vectrix Multicart. So episode 225 is when we talked about this. So the guy's name is Sean Kelly. If you type in like Vectrix Multicart online and you happen to have a Vectrix, he's a guy. He's the one that sells these multi-carts and creates them, and does a hell of a job. I mean, you're talking from, just the shell alone is fantastic in terms of quality. The art on the actual multi-cart, the boxes he produces, like he does tons of stuff there that are high quality for Vectrix. And this particular cart, I mean, this one I think had 53 games on it. And the one that stood out to me the most is Spike. And that's the one where we had like, it's like, hey, Spike. And it's saying like, verbally saying stuff on the Vectrix. That to me was really cool. I mean, you're playing a vector-based console and you've got audio coming through. Like, I just kind of think about if I was, 10, 12 years old and sitting there in like, what is it, 1983, I think is what it came out. And I'm playing this game and like this audio is coming out. It's in my house or whatever. Like, that to me is really cool. Right. So a little home arcade setup. So yeah, that one definitely stood out. And Vectrix is definitely one of my favorites. It's a hard to find console. It's got some crazy looking games on it. And I think every time that we play that console, we have a good time.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. Yeah. My number 1 for this year, John's number 2 for this year, spoilers, is Returnal. I think that this is such a dope game. Returnal is basically one of the 2 games that's out that really I would buy if I got a PS5 right away. Like, I don't really know what else is on PS5 that I'm just like can't wait to play, but Returnal was a great one. It's gorgeous looking. It's super fun. I love a roguelike, and I can't wait, eventually to be able to get my own PS5 and just borrow the game from John.
So this one you can play it on PC now too, but this one we played in episode 243, and it definitely is one of my favorites of the year. It's a super difficult game. I mean, you're constantly restarting and just trying to kind of do this thing in a one-shot run, and it's difficult, dude.
Have you gone back to it at all? I know you were kind of like revisiting it a bit here and there earlier in the year.
It's still in my entertainment center. It's one that I hadn't been able to like get back to because things got pretty busy, and I got to dedicate some time to it to really get good.
Yeah.
It's just so hard. I want to say that the trophy for beating the game is like 2%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not very high in terms of a win rate on this type. I mean, you're talking like 6 or 7 worlds, and you have to go through and one run. This isn't like hey, you get to the second world and now you can start here and you can save here. Like, now you keep going from the start of the game and then going through all the way to the end. So yeah, I mean, in total, I say you should put about 25 hours into it. And I think a lot of that is 25 hours into learning the damn game and figuring it out. Like, it's pretty tough. So for my number 2, that was that one. Number 3 for me, which is your number 2, and this was on episode 261, is Pocky and Rocky Reshrined on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game was released on other consoles as well. We, of course, played it on the Switch, and I had a blast. I mean, this is a side-scrolling shooter, and it really takes place in like feudal Japan with all of these different legendary creatures that you're fighting and going through these different levels. For me, it's like the colors of this game and the actual gameplay were stellar. Like, above and beyond what other games that we have played during the course of a year, especially in this type of genre, were able to provide. So for me, this was like a must buy. And I will say, also for my three, I don't know about your three, at least two of yours are the same. All of these we consider deflated over the course of a year. So all three of mine. So these were like hey, it's worth more than what you're actually paying right now.
Yeah, let's see. I think Pocky and Rocky was definitely a game that I had always wanted to play. I'd seen, reviews online of it in the past, some video reviews on YouTube, and it always looked like a fun time. And then the Reshrine just did so much visually to kind of give it that uplift and added so much extra content. Seeing people that have reviewed and really gone through all the effort on the new one, it definitely looks like one of those games that just has so much replayability to it. And I really think that it is one that I would love to actually go back and probably either purchase or at least, team up and play through it at some point, because I just love that, style of Japan and that era, but also with like the cutesy yokai and everything. It's a great game. I really enjoyed it. Definitely one of the tops for me this year.
And before we get into your number three here, of course, listen back on those episodes to get our full review on each of these games. We're not going to sit here and redo it. We're going to have you go listen to it and what we talked about before. So enjoy that and our pickups of the year. Ryan, number three for you.
So the last one for me was Mario Golf Advanced Tour. I love my GBA, and any chance I get to bust that boy out, I'm always happy to do so. And this is just like a great, interesting RPG / sport game with Mario elements. And it's just got a really vibrant, GBA art style where it's got so much more than I always give it credit for. I'm always so impressed when I go back to the GBA and I see things like this or Golden Sun, and just like how much they were visually able to push everything forward on such a, quaint little handheld device. But this is another one of those games, tons of depth, tons of stuff you can do in it. It's got just so much that I think really captured me. And I really wish that this was a game that I had played back when I was younger and I was spending so much more time on my Game Boy and I didn't have as many options. And I really think I would have clicked with it a lot more back then. And it's probably a game, again, all three of these games I think I picked because these are all ones I would definitely go back to and would love to play more of in the future.
Yeah, Mario Golf was definitely one that I enjoyed as well. It, of course, didn't make the cut for me here, but I am a big
Tunic
fan.
Didn't.
Which one?
Tunic.
Actually, it was between Tunic and Pocky and Rocky for me.
Okay.
And I didn't choose Tunic because it was just so recent, and I haven't had a time to dive back into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tunic was definitely
Tunic
I would say
builds.
It would have been
Just
a
starting
tie.
Tunic off is not like the greatest.
Yeah, it would have been a tie for me, to be honest, with number three. So I had to choose one. But Mario Golf is one that I definitely enjoy, and I love me some golf games. Actually, I don't mind playing golf occasionally, just at least hitting it off the tee and such, and putt, I guess, if you want to go that far. But I love me some golf games. I don't know what it is.
You should play Golf Story.
I know it's on the
That's
list. I also have the Golf RPG one, or it's a different one. It's something golf in VR. I don't remember the name, but I have another one. And then Hot Shots Golf is one of my favorite franchises as well. Well, I think that's about it. You played Mario Golf on episode 244. I don't know if you had mentioned
that one was just right also.
Yeah, that was just right. So really, I mean, we took our games that we were like, hey, these are definitely worth it. And I didn't look at these, by the way, to determine, was it just right? Was it, inflated or deflated? I just chose what I felt were my favorites. And then they just happened to have been also the ones that were like, hey, this is a great value.
Yeah. Overall, I think that we had some pretty good games this year. We had some pretty bad games this year too. Like Kingsley's Adventure. And
yeah, that was a rough one.
Tenchu Z was hard.
Tenchu Z was fun though. Dewey and Dewey's Adventure and Uniracers were definitely not at the top of my list.
We talked to some cool people this year.
Yeah, we actually
This
met a
isn't
lot
really
of
like
people.
our end of year, but we'll do one more. Well, actually, you know what? The next
No.
episode will come out on the 1st.
Yeah, this is our end of year episode.
Oh man! Well,
Technically
hey
speaking.
everybody, thanks so much for joining us for another year of the Game Deflators. This is what, like 5 years now?
I think roughly, yeah. I'm just looking up the statistics right now because I'm kind of just curious if we increased our listenership this year, like what percentage. Every year we've actually grown, which is kind of cool. So always appreciate everybody listening. But
If you're telling your friends by word of mouth and they're listening too, thank you so much. I mean, there's only so much you can really push online for stuff, and I am not a social media person, so you don't ever see much of that, but we really appreciate it. We're just doing this for fun, and we hope you guys like, getting some news, getting some gaming insights, checking out some prices of some games with us every week.
I will say our listenership this year increased 4.1%.
Nice. That's gains.
That is gains. And that is, I mean, every year, like I said, we've gained in listenership, which is always fun. Yeah. So I'm just looking at it. And we've had some nice spikes over the course of the year. April was a huge month for us. December's been a pretty good month for us as well. So definitely excited to continue talking games. And the people that are listening, we appreciate, we appreciate your time, especially our friends at the Isle of Man. I think it's crazy when I just look at that. I'm like, some of the places that we have listeners is fantastic.
Or
people
Canada, using VPNs. Not quite sure.
I don't know. I don't know. Isle of Man is pretty straightforward. And in Australia, we've actually had our Australian friends comment at us before. So comment again if you're listening. But definitely appreciate it.
All right, everybody. You have a safe and happy holiday and a new year. And we will see you in 2024.
We'll see you on January 1st. You'll be hearing us. All right. That's it. Game Deflators 2023 out.